trappings of state, like an enormous burden, like that figure of Atlas carrying the world.
Yes.
The Queen going on and on and on and never giving up.
You don't think republicanism will come back in this country?
I don't know. I think one can nowadays particularly, never second guess the future. We all thought we'd be out of lockdown now, Andrew. And look, we can hear the clink and the clank of chains.
So, Joanna, what do you think? Because we've had all the ghastly Harry and Meghan business and the rest, and she is Delphic. She gives nothing away, absorbing it all, taking it all. What do you think's going on inside?
I don't know. I hope her Christian faith looks after her. And I think that no matter what we read through the newspapers or report through tittle-tattle, is that probably isn't really what's going on. And probably the royal family is much closer than we think, I think.
So, Joanna Lumley, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andrew.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary, Dominic Raab, is my last guest this morning. Dominic Raab, welcome to you.
Good morning.
Is Omicron more widespread in this country than we had thought?
Well, look, we know we've had, I think, just a little over 150 cases. So those are the facts. The impact we're still gauging, as your guests today have shown. I think the real truth of the matter is that one thing people seem pretty confident about is it increasing the take-up of boosters and vaccines. We're now at 80% double jab. A third of the country have had the third jab or a booster is the surest defences. We can go into this Christmas totally different position from the last Christmas.
That's about Christmas. Is it going to be a good one?
I think it's going to be a great Christmas. Look, all the family, friends, loved ones are being able to get together in a way we haven't been able to do for a couple of years, I think is really important. Of course, we'll continue to be vigilant about variants, but the reality is that you can look at the data this week on last week, hospitalisations down, deaths down. We stay vigilant, but I think we're in a much more confident position because of the vaccine, because of the boosters.
So knowing what you know about Omicron, you would be perfectly relaxed and happy about going to see an elderly relative this Christmas?
Yes, I mean, of course, it always depends a little bit on their personal condition. If they're safeguarding, it may be different, but I think people should enjoy Christmas, get their loved ones around them, celebrate it in a way we haven't been able to in the past.
And that's despite the fact that we heard earlier on in the programme that Omicron is spreading and speeding at an astonishing rate in South Africa. It goes very, very fast indeed. And that people who've had coronavirus already can be reinfected, and that we know some people who have had vaccines are being infected. Those three things seem to be quite worrying.
But look, all of those caveats and qualifications apply. That's why we need to stay eternally vigilant. That's why we've taken some measures in relation to transport. That's why some of those countries, even if it's residual defence against reseeding in this country, have been put on the transport blacklist. But
closing the door after the horse has bolted, said Martin.
Well, you always get the Goldilocks criticism of we've done too much, we've done too little. The reality is, I think if you look at the hospitalisation rate, the fatality rate, all down this week on last week, the latest statistics, if you look at the success of the vaccine scheme, 80% plus of not just adults but those over 12 double jabbed, the boosters and the third jabs out to a third of the country. Actually, we have steadily and patiently but steadfastly created the resilience and the defences which mean we can enjoy Christmas.
You're putting everything into vaccines as the line of defence, really. If they don't work, what next? Are you contingency planning for a serious new wave?
Well, look, we're always watching the variants. I'm not sure it's quite right to say that everything has gone into vaccines, but the big focus, the big priority has been that. But we've also talked about therapeutics, the drugs that mean that even if transmission spreads, it is no more harmful than, say, ordinary flu because you take the fatality out of it. That's been